Greetings, traders, and welcome to our webinar here today on the futures markets as part of the Ultimate Guide to Year-End Holiday Gains. The theme of our webinar today is how to find out how experienced futures traders can make an ongoing up to 200 to 500% return a month and more on invested capital. The purpose of our webinar here is to show you that if you want to make stronger gains. A lot of people make a big deal if their stock runs up 200% over a year, and that's a great gain on a stock, of course. But picture yourself being to do that every month is up to 200 to 500% a month return using the futures markets. Now, to join our trading service, you have to be an experienced futures trader. To watch the seminar today, you don't have to be, but a lot of it may or may not make sense to you if you're not already an experienced futures trader, or at least have some experience. But we welcome you either way to learn. So thank you for joining with us today. Great to see you, and thanks again to spending probably about the next half hour. I'm going to go over this relatively quickly because I want you to understand what we do and why we do it and the purpose of that and other things. So moving on here, we're going to start by doing today a forensic deep dive analysis of the intraday market moves. Now, no one's ever done this before. There are people that try to explain things during the day and all that, but if they don't understand some of the things I'm going to show you today, whatever their analysis is kind of let's call it insipid. It won't have any real value over time because they're not understanding the reality of the markets. So the forensic dive is like what the FBI does if there's a murder, like the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk, supposedly. There's still more coming out on that, but I'm just giving you an example. All kinds of forensic analysis is being done in that. We plan to do that here today in the markets so you can really get an understanding what's going on in the markets and determine your future in this way, which we're all doing who trade, or even if you just buy stocks. The main thing is determining who is in charge of the markets on the intraday basis, the short-term basis, and what we mostly use in the day traders action room, the micro short-term basis. But I really appreciate you joining with us again. Like I said, my name is Mohan, and welcome. And I've been day trading the futures markets for 33 years now in a row, and I've trained over 50,000 traders in the futures markets. Now, many of these persons have been members of my Day Traders Action live room for quite some time. I'm always researching and definitively looking into the markets to discover new ways, maybe secret or hidden ways that have been hidden, try to unveil those methods that can keep us on the right side of the market. It's an ongoing process, and I love it, but it does involve round-the-clock work. So if you decide you're going to become a real futures trader, plan on spending a lot of time in the markets and all that. Let your spouse or partner know that you're going to be a little bit busy for the next 10 years, and just help them understand what you're trying to do with futures trading. Now, if you join our room, you're going to have an easier time because we're going to be able to show you a lot of things, how to make money right away, and that's what I'm doing here. Now, here's a seminar I did some time ago, and we've done a bunch of those back in the days of seminars. Now everybody comes online like now, and there was, in this example here, there was 320 traders, which included over a dozen professional floor traders who back then were the gods of the market, the floor traders, right? From Chicago, some from New York, and brokers who also came. We had over 30 brokers that came from all that were bringing services to the futures traders that I had there, 320. They all came from around the globe just to learn my successful day trading methods. They didn't come as a part of a group, bunch of futures traders to pick up. It was just, they all flew in from around the world just to see me. And so I'm just showing you this. Everything that people tell you in the markets, you should always make sure that you can believe in them. Your brain's going to hear things and think, oh, you start believing in it. you got to do an analysis of their background first. So I show these things as proof so you can see that what I'm saying is well experienced and indeed true. It's going to shock you today. Don't be surprised. Now here's our website here. Just so you know, it's daytradersaction.com. And this is what we say on our website. What if you could go to work in the morning for 1 to 2 hours, have the rest of the day off, a 3-day weekend every week, and make up to $800,000 to $200,000 a day on small size? We don't use a lot of account. You don't have to have a $100,000 account to do that. Very small account. Now, our Day Traders Action Live room is a top futures day trading room in the industry and the absolute lowest cost of any I've seen. Why do I do that? I guess because I'm a nice guy. Well, that and the fact is I'm really sincerely trying to help traders. There's plenty of people out there who are frauds who are going to try to gouge you for $5,000, $6,000 for their magic trading course. We don't do that. We do. After all these years of training traders, I mentioned I trained 50,000 traders. What I do is give you a very low-cost way, and I do the best for you, and that is give you the exact signals that I'm trading. So you can trade along with me and just do very well. Again, $800, $2,000 a day, and we'll talk about that more. But the service is the lowest cost, only $49 to start your live trading. You got to start training with us, so we give you a discount in the first 2 weeks. And you can watch videos on my room and everything. I can give those to you if you want to email me at mohan@daytradersaction. Watch those first and join the room. This is not a trial to the room. This is not we don't have any $49 products. There's no trials. You go in you watch the videos. You can see I've got 60 videos on YouTube, and decide, yeah, I want to be part of that and make $800 to $2,000 a day and pay $149 a month. Very low cost. I consider that actually just a service charge because technically our room is free. That's right. If you pay $149 a month and you make $800 to $2,000 a day, the room is free. Obviously, you can understand pretty easily from that. So go to our site at daytradersaction.com if you'd like to join with us. It'd be great to see you. So we're going to be looking to determine from reading the chart patterns who is in charge of the markets on these micro short-term basis. And I'm going to show you the proof. What are the mysterious shark's teeth chart formations that just started recently in mid-August of 2025? No one has ever talked about these except me. I'm the first one bringing this up. Others will probably watch this at some point and try to go in and pretend they know what they're doing. But they understand the nature of the shark's teeth is a little bit scary. It's conspiratorial, that's for sure, because the market riggers have become out of control and they've broken the market. So I'm a little concerned about the future, but I know we'll all make it through here. So we're going to show you the shark's teeth pattern as they occur. We're not live in the markets now, so I'll be showing you several days back from this blue line, vertical line, starting on Globex here, these shark-turn patterns, shark's teeth patterns, and other patterns that are caused by rigging mostly. The proof here is, like I said, the buy-side illegal market riggers and how to trade around them following the bazooka blow-up maneuvers that they make. It's always on the buy side. And the artificial follow-through rigging stunts played by the riggers. It's like a whole forensic study into this criminal group that rigs the markets constantly. And you'll come to understand that. And when they decide the market's getting ready for a crash, like it probably is right now as I speak, today is September the 27th on a Saturday. I'm doing this webinar. So come in Monday and watching through October. At some point here, I think we're going to have some pretty severe market volatility. So be prepared for that, and this webinar should help you do that. How the riggers have dramatically changed the market structure with their illegal rigging. And most important question to ask, are the U.S. stock markets now broken? Now you may say, oh, no, they're not broken because I just bought some goofy, you know, mega stock or something and it went up 100%. I'm not talking about whether you made money or not. I'm talking about, are they really operating in a smooth, natural, and most importantly, legal flow according to rules? Essentially, the regulators are doing nothing to police the things I'm going to show you today and here. So I hope that this will help send out a message to the president, who I'm hoping President Trump will get involved in trying to deter. They've done the whole probe of all these other things and found so much fraud in the government. So I'm hoping that they will eventually get to the point of probing the stock markets and determining all the fraud that goes on there too. Hey, I'm not on a mission or anything. I'm just here to help traders. That's what we've been doing for quite some time, 30 years practically, 22 years exactly in the markets, and prior to that, helping private individuals before I was publicly involved in the markets as a, well-known person. So again, thanks for joining with us today. I mentioned about the average gains we have in our sessions, and what's important is when we stop trading, our goal is to stop trading when we've achieved our target goal in the markets for the day, which is at 800 to 2,000 bucks. It may be a little lower now because the market is so damn volatile and risky. We've cut our size in half, but we're still achieving this level. We had an $1,800 day the other day. We had a $500 day. I think Friday we had a $900 day. We traded this Friday because Monday was a holiday. So when that happens, we take the Friday and trade on that day. We trade 4 days a week, and we have a 3-day weekend. So we invite you to join this beautiful lifestyle with us and just get into the action, make some money. It's a lot of fun. But it is high speed, high risk, and you must be an experienced futures day trader to join our room. Reducing risk and hanging on to nice gains to protect our subscribers is the number one goal of the Day Traders Action Room. We actually put that in front of making profits. A lot of people say, oh, later in the day when you're closed, after you're closed, the newbies do this, not the ones who are experienced. The market really ran up. I go, yes, so what? I don't care. We're going to trade tomorrow, make some more money. But we're looking to hit our target goal and stop trading. We're not trying to be the big experts that catch all the big moves and they catch every move. We catch a lot of moves, on the side of the big moves, and we mostly micro scalp the shorter moves. So that's important to understand. That's a basic summary of what we're doing, and I can remove this now so you can see the charts, and I'm going to go into my presentation about what I see here forming on these still charts. And as you know, still charts are a good way to read the record of it's like a book you can read, but the live trading is where the truth is, and that's what we do. We live trade every day, and that's where all these ideas I'm going to show you today have been proven out, and you'll see them proven here. So here's Globex. This was approximately 2 sessions ago, plus the Globex session before that, and you can see them goosing up the market, jamming it up higher with these what I call bazooka candles. You see this bazooka launch here? It was in a contracted market, and all of a sudden 1, 2, 3, 4 elongated candles. That's very expensive. For no one-lotter is going to be able to do that. If every one-lotter in the market, this is Globex at this time, there might have been a bunch in Europe and stuff, but not necessarily in the US. But I'm making a point that if all the one-lotters got on a Zoom call and said, okay, 1, 2, 3, buy at the market, they couldn't even accomplish half of this. These are forces that are being done by special interests with a tremendous amount of money to rig the markets. A lot of time, though, I want to say this, almost as a rule, is after the markets have been really rigged severely, maybe stalled with a series of shark's teeth chart patterns, which I'll show in a second, practically the only thing that can happen after that is a crash. And this is not, we don't call this a bazooka blast. This is just short-term traders that have been forced out of the market and stopped out, and then the market crashes in response to that. So this is Globex, so there's not as, the rigging goes on 24 hours, but it's not as severe. So here was a day where they went up and they came back under this thick yellow line after penetrating this resistant area up here. Now, I didn't put these lines in here today. These lines are probably 3-4 weeks old, maybe even a little more. Because the market's pulled back a lot, especially the last 4 or 5 sessions, other than Friday's big rig job, these lines, I put them on constantly, daily, for different reasons. And I erase a lot of them over time, but a lot of them have been on here for a long time, and they come in value. And all of a sudden, here it is, maybe a month, about 2 months later, and the market gets hammered down lower to a certain level, and all these lines are there, still marking, and that's where the inflection points will still be valid, as you'll see in a minute here. So this was a resistance area. This yellow line was key, and this thick dotted line was really key as well. So all of a sudden, the market starts peeling off. Now, this is my Boomerang software. I don't sell it to people anymore. An experienced futures trader can still buy it, but they'd have to email me and talk to me about what their interests are so I can help them. But I use in the room, the Day Traders Action room, these shaded channels and colored candles that match in the channels so that you can get a real clear picture of the market. So here they come, and now they're busting this thick dotted white line. I rarely use this type of configuration, but I did that because I wanted it to really stand out. I knew it'd be a key pivot point. So once again, they hit the resistance up here, come down, plow through that line. This just happens to be the top of the opening range for Friday. It's not significant for this day, but that's what that thick line is. So after they came down under this, they started peeling off normal, natural selling, which is rare nowadays. You don't get much natural market movement unless they're selling. Usually you'll see them a little more natural flow because the riggers don't want them to sell. They want them to go up. But anyway, this double red and orange line here was also really significant level that we had been watching in the room. So down they came, and then again, this was a big hammering on Globex. I'm going to bring you right up to Friday so you can see what happened. I'm telling you, get ready because next week it's going to start. I think we're going to see some incredible volatility. So hold on to your hat, and I'll make a case for that later. So here's a normal bounce. This is not a rig job. This is just a normal bounce off this low. The riggers normally wait till they make sure all the sellers are out of their way. And they knew more was to come, so here they come. Here comes the sellers coming in, just pounding the market down into this green zone, which was I think it's maybe 3 to 4 weeks. It had to have even been older because we haven't been this low for a while. I'm guessing maybe a month, even 2 months old, this green zone that I had in here as a support area. It was a prior area that I marked with these green lines, and then this area got filled in, and then there was a little lower move, so this substitute green line down here, not put in today, it was put in long ago, was and look at how the market held up. In spite of these being 2 months old, market held exactly up here, and just making this was a normal, natural, overcooked on the downside bounce, oversold, and they bounced them up. There was no rigging here that I can detect. You'll see it's coming up. You're going to see some insane criminal rigging. When I'm going to show you this, I'm going to show you how to identify it in your trading or when you join the Day Traders Action Room. Here comes the sellers again, trying to pound out that buy support zone that was several months old in the chart. But we're coming into the last 2 days of trading. So this is old lines, but look at how well they're holding up. Now, is that a coincidence? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How can these old lines still hold up today? There's that tap, double tap on that low that got penetrated here. And these are the type of things I look at while I'm trading for us in the room. If you become a member, you become like a member of our family, and I'm here to protect your account as well as I can and, give you the solid trades so you can make the money and make these 200 to 400% a month return on capital. This is starting to look like a rig job here. This looks like the riggers here, they got it up and they're all proud of themselves. It defeated this buy zone again, came back down here. One might call it a triple bottom or whatever. Yeah, possibly, but it's starting to look like the riggers are getting involved here and trying to really jack this thing up because it got hit pretty hard. And you can always tell because they go up and up and up. Now this is what I call the institutional bias line here. I'm keeping an eye on the time, but we got plenty of time. This is the institutional bias line here. Prices below are going to lean on the bear side and pull in bearish sellers. See the watching, if you watch this line up here. And above this institutional bias line, it's something I invented for us in the Day Traders Action Room. I used to use the VWAP and all that. I know that's very popular, but I didn't find it to be that valuable, so I created my own institutional bias line, which is what the VWAP kind of is. Institutions really pay a lot of attention to that. Mine's better though, and it's available in the Day Traders Action Room as part of our service. Look at that, above the institutional bias line, kablamo, up they go. Now we're starting to detect some rigging here because it's already jacked up, and here they come in here just forcing it up again. I'm going to open this chart up a little now, so as we move forward, you're going to be able to see the severe rigging coming in. So far, you know, it's a natural bullish response, but it is being helped. Now, here's your first experience of what I call the shark teeth formations. These are brand new. These just started about a month and a half ago in mid-August, and I detected them. I went, what is this crap? You know, I was talking in the room, and I was going, what the hell is the matter with these people? You know, and I said, it's like shark's teeth, you know? You go swim in an area that has a big sign out that says, caution, sharks out today. You don't go swim out there or surf out there. What if you get your arm bitten off? You know, you only get one shot at that. You think, oh, they'll sew it back on. What? That's your arm, you know. So shark's teeth formations, that's what these remind me of, like a big shark doing what? Gobbling up the buyers and the sellers by force. Now, the reason their shark teeth forms, this is what's so important. You're going to have to understand, it's a little conspiratorial, but everything is nowadays. Are you kidding? The Charlie Kirk thing and all, it's all conspiracy stuff. They're trying to sell the market off here. Look, the sellers are trying to come back in after a ridiculously huge run-up from the green zone. Or not that big, but a decent run-up. They're trying to come back in and sell. Well, guess what? The riggers don't want that. And look at this candle here. This is what I call a bazooka candle. Now get ready because you're going to see a lot of these in our presentation. 611 up to 34. A 24-point candle in one scoop. Do you realize how much it costs somebody to run that candle? Must have cost the rigging group a fortune to do that. And they're hoping to drive the prices up and stop the sellers from selling. But the sellers come back in, more candles, not bazookas exactly, but, you know, forcing it up. They drop back, then they force it up again. I'll just run through this series and I'll tell you what could happen when you try to trade in this crap. Down they come again. The market's trying, this is caused by buyers, riggers, not buyers who are bullish necessarily, but riggers who want the market to just go up, trying to stomp on these sellers coming in, looking for the downside to become activated. Up they go again, down they go again. Someone's just going to say, well, it's whipsaw. Oh, wow, brilliant comment. That really explains everything. That word whipsaw has been around for decades. Whipsaw doesn't explain anything. Whipsaw is the action. If a car comes out of nowhere and hits you, you go, oh, I've just been hit by a car. Well, you want to know the name of that driver. You want to know what that criminal, was he drunk or was he one of these illegal criminals driving around drunk, can't even speak English, and they smash into you? You want to know who that is. You want a forensic examination of why this idiot smashed into you, right? Well, wouldn't you want to know why these people are out here trying to kill all the day traders' accounts? Let the market flow naturally, riggers. What are you trying to do? Well, finally, what happens, and what usually happens after a shark's teeth expires and they don't try to juice it up harder to the upside, a crash is a natural response. Now, this is a mini crash, but nonetheless, a harder crash. Down they come. Well, now here's your first taste of what I'm talking about. Look at this. So they pull back a little bit here, down to these key yellow line, this thick white line, and this magenta line here. There's three of them that were sandwiched in there. And look at the riggers. They're pissed. They don't like them stomping on their rig operation. They come back here with a big bazooka show. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. A fifth one up here, just jacking the thing up from 600 handle all the way up to 54 points in the time it took them to do that. 8:11 to 8:13. Well, this is about 10 minutes. This is where it stalled up here because they tried to drive it back into a shark's teeth chart pattern. But this first run from here at 8:10 was up, just to show you, was up on this base in the yellow line, 600 to 41 points in 1 minute. 41 points in less than a minute, or approximately a minute. 41 points, 1 minute. What? Who's so bullish, buyers? Only you guys who are trying to force the market. They're trying to thwart the selling. Well, all of a sudden, they try to get a shark's chart formation going again, and it failed. The sellers overwhelmed them, and again, it crashed. Bazooka show, stall the thing up, try to hang it up and keep forcing it up. And there was a horrible case of that this last week, Monday. If you look at your charts, no selling allowed. Look at your charts. No selling allowed. Is that legal? Is that criminal? Yes. Is it fair? Is it honest? Where are the regulators? That's what I'd like to know. They should be able to answer my questions. It's not me, it's other people, I'm sure, that are noticing this, but I've got it clearly identified with our services. So a big crash, straight down, look at that. Just a big clobbering down from 40 down, wow. 640 down to 586, almost 60 points in just about 5 minutes. Big slaughter, big slam, but then what? Here they come again. These people just don't want the market to sell off. They're just desperate. So they come in with another bazooka show. Oh, you're going to see stuff that'll blow your mind. They're just so weird. And by doing this artificial rigging, they're breaking the markets. Let me tell you what, they're breaking the markets. I'm watching it happen, especially that stunt they pulled last Monday. Unbelievable. So this one climbed its way higher, and now here comes the shark teeth formation. Why? Because the sellers are coming back and saying, hey, you're forcing this thing up. We want to go short. And when you trade for a living like I do, and ideally you do who are watching this, you realize when they form these shark formations and try to force the market up and trap people get in here, they're stealing the business from the natural flow of the markets, which is all we're asking for. We're not asking for the markets to be perfect, but just a little natural flow, not this artificial rigging. And look at that, little shark's teeth episode and then crash. Always when you got these shark teeth things going, you get a crash, you get a counter crash. And then down they come again, and then here we go again. This is markets now open. I didn't mark when the market opened, but because we're not worried about it. We're just going through Globex and all these periods. Here we go again. They try to force it back up as it got hit. And then another counter crash. And then what? Now you're an expert. What? Then what do you see after they get hammered lower? The riggers come in and try to all they're doing now is we can't seem to defeat these bears. Let's just try to prop it up. Let's get it propped up. Get rid of, that's how they get rid of the sellers. They just defeat them by propping up the markets, thwarting all their selling signals. and trades that they put on, but they couldn't do it, and it crashed again. This was 2 days ago, 2 sessions ago. Again, they do the shark's teeth, artificial propping of the markets, crash, and then it crashes because they're forcing it up. It's artificial. If it just went naturally by the amount of real traders and regular traders, we wouldn't see this. We'd see a lot of flow. And so what if it flows to the downside? Oh, we don't want that. We want it to just permanently go up. Well, that's a sickness. You know, you don't want the sun to be out every day. I know people like this. When it rains, they go, oh, boo, it's raining. Oh, it's like, what? You want a sunny day every day? Move to Thailand or places like that. The land of the rising sun, it's always up, you know. So anyway, so the market got hammered again, back into the green zone. So there's a lot of bears that are trying to sell this thing. The riggers are just trying to artificially stomp them out. So now we're coming into 2 o'clock, 11 o'clock on my West Coast chart time. We love to get up early here, that's for sure. I was going to live in Hawaii once some years ago when I was becoming trader. I looked at the time, oh, that's early. You go to trade these markets, you're going to have to be up by 3 in the morning or something, pretty early. Anyway, here comes the riggers again, trying to pop it right out of this buy zone. But I'm not really detecting rigging here, just kind of, you know, they got sold off pretty hard. I'm willing to say when it's natural, it's natural. But when it's rigged, like here you see them coming in and there's resistance up at these levels. Remember these yellow and green lines here, which when they plowed through those last time, they got hit hard. So what they have to do is come in artificially and jam a bazooka show here, what I call a bazooka show. If you're familiar with war and you've seen some of those old movies and stuff, when they pull out the bazookas to get out guy's got a machine gunner in a little area there, the bazookas take them right out, and that's what these guys do. It costs a lot of money to do this, to just jam it up. Look, they're going up here naturally, and here, small candles just going up. Oh, some red ink here too, jumping again here and here. But all of a sudden they were detecting what? We're above the core bias or the institutional bias line. You see that? Remember, I was just talking to you about that. We're above the institutional bias line. Okay, this is our chance, so we better, you know, get a few $1 million or more together and ramp it up. And they use what they call soft money, which is money stolen from other rigged trades where they're propping up the markets, cleaning out the shorts, but they're staying long when this comes in. It self-pays for itself with what they call soft dollars. Anyway, of course, the rigging causes a crash because the sellers really want to come into this thing. And now we get a little shark's teeth routine again going. And even now, as you see the prices trying to come down, it's so hard to trade this stuff. Believe me, ever since August last month, it's been because of all this crap, you know. The risk goes up, everything. So they're trying to bring them down here, but they keep forcing them up and trying to stop out and form a shark's teeth pattern chart, but gradually they're coming down lower, and then still, you know, it's like a battle, literally a war between the bulls and the bears coming into the close here. And you can see this is half an hour before the market closes. Pardon my voice here. Half an hour before the market closes. I hope you're learning a lot from our seminar today. Nobody else is talking about this. I'm not doing it for any reason other than to help traders. And those who are sincere futures traders want to join our room, I'll hand you live winning trades, and you'll be very excited. You can take it easy. You have 3 days off, trade for 2 hours in the morning, and have the rest of the day off. Now, that's a trader's lifestyle, you know, especially people who are semi-retired or trying to work towards retirement, and they've got futures experience from their previous youthful life or whatever, or even just over the last 10, 15 years. Put it to good use, put it to use in our room. So here we come right into the close, and of course they're running a massive bazooka show to try to force it up into the close because their bosses are telling them, get that market up, you know. So they close. Globex, excuse me, ends right here on this thin line. You can see it right where my cursor is. Globex ends. They try one more goose job, and the market starts to get hit on the downside. But you can see that the nature of the candles, they're still fighting it. So it's a 24-hour rig job that they're pulling now. And I think it's eventually going to break the markets completely, which is what we've kind of seen already. You know, the markets will still go on and, you know, but all they push now is AI, this artificial AI and Bitcoin. Artificial intelligence means not real natural intelligence, artificial. And yeah, I've fooled around with it and stuff, and it's somewhat amazing that you just basically have a library that seems like it's a person, but it's so accurate. You know, it's just really an enhanced Google search is what it is, but good for it, you know, and I know they use it for other things. In our Day Traders Action Room, by the way, we do recommend stocks once in a while, you know, frequently, I should say, once every couple months, and we just made 1,000% on that stock, that goofy stock everybody's talking about. It's like the new darling of, you know, the Palantir. So I got Palantir and NVIDIA. These are the two CIA owned, controlled, and managed stocks. Palantir's even got or NVIDIA's even got a pedophile label on it, which is, you know, associated with that dark side, the left side, the CIA, the old CIA. They're slowly going to be getting driven out, but but we made 1,000% on Palantir, selling it at 185, buying it down under 20 bucks. So it was a year and 2 months run. And so that's great. So, but look at this. Here we go. Middle of Globex, out of nowhere, the markets, they were trying to keep it forced up, but it was slowly grinding down, and it just pissed off these riggers. So all of a sudden, they get above the institutional bias line here again. See, they didn't want it to break the institutional bias line. You see that? It's right here in the center of these two. They're trying to force it up. They couldn't get it going. Finally, they just said, hell with it, spend the money. And they just rammed the thing straight up. No rhyme or reason. Who knows what? They're just trying to control the markets. And again, shark teeth patterns as the sellers come in strong and they try to stop them by doing these shark teeth formations, and then it ends up in a crash. Clunk, right? So good job, riggers. It went back under the institutional bias line, right back to this low right here. If I mark this low, which I'll do real quickly here, and look where it went. See that? I just did that. I didn't even know if this line would correlate, but look at that. I just marked that low here. The riggers were so pissed, they just angrily lit off this bazooka. It tried to start a shark's teeth thing. Look at see the bazooka candles here? Trying to stall the sellers so they could juice it up some more. And it had to crash. And then the crash brought them right down below where they originally ran the bazooka from, which was right around this 604 level. And then what? Now it comes down, and the riggers don't give up. They start propping it up and propping and trying to prop it up, forming a big, heavy shark's teeth pattern here, which we've never seen. I've never seen these 33 years of trading. I was going, what the WTF is this? You know, you see these patterns, you got to stand aside, because if you buy them or sell them, you're going to get chewed up. Say you go short here. Okay, it works a little bit and then chewed up. Then you go long here, chewed up. Short here, I'm short, I'm hanging short. I know it's short, I know it's bearish. Crunch, stopped out. Then all of a sudden, above the institutional level line, they get their footing up here and they start launching again. And then especially above this upper level, above this core orange-red double-lined area here, they blast another bazooka show to force it up over this key white dotted line, which I talked to you about earlier, how key that was. They jammed it up over that, couldn't hold it, and kablamo, down they go again. All the way back to, you guessed it, the yellow-white zone here. And then a big, giant bazooka show in retaliation for those evil sellers coming in and messing up their rig job. Shark's teeth formations, an attempt to jack it up again. See, this is the last 2 days. The riggers have been failing. Until Friday, they put in an artificial Dow reading of up 299. I'll show you what happened. We're almost there of what they did on Friday. Look at this. The sellers defeated the riggers, but they're still fighting. So they're coming in here. Here's the market opening. It's just all-out war here between the riggers trying to rig the thing up. They only rig the bullish side, and what happens is when they jack the market up, which I believe they did last Monday, on that day where there was no selling allowed. Sorry, we don't allow selling. You got to buy. I think they set up a crony loading operation, and now we see the market's getting hammered. But I think what's coming up next week and maybe over the next few weeks is going to be, could be pretty severe. I never say is, and I'm making an absolute prediction. I'm just saying it would be, could be, should be, maybe, might, and probably will be pretty severe on the downside. That's what I'm rather thinking. And you're getting warnings too from the Federal Reserve. Said, well, we're, this and that, bullish. They're just being sheepish about it. They know what's coming. America's bankrupt, gang. How do you define bankruptcy? Whether it's declared or not. If a guy has $1 million in the bank, but he's got $5 million in bills, and they're all calling him, and lawyers from those firms that he owes money to are calling him and pressuring him. If they take his car, at a certain point you get buried, you have to say I'm bankrupt. Well, that scenario there, $5 million in debt, $1 million in the bank, America's got 100 times that or more of that situation. So it's not a theory. It's just everyone knows. Look at the debt clock in New York. I mean, America's bankrupt, but they just keep going on. And President Trump's doing his best. He's coming back in here with the tariffs, which are successful. And you know what he wants to do with the tariff money? He said this on live in public. I want to get rid of the IRS and the tax system. Last time we had tariffs back during a period long ago, there was no taxes and the tariffs paid for everything. He said, I can get the tariffs up there, pay for everything, and we'll just eliminate the taxes. Wow. Everybody would love that, whether they're a communist leftist or a staunch Republican type of person. Everybody's going to love not having to pay taxes. So, but what did the news media do? The Trump tariff temper tantrum. A bunch of idiots, these news media. They just can't run an honest deal. It's always bashing President Trump, who's a real hero of the modern age. Picture not having to pay taxes. Well, they opened the market, and our day traders action room here opened right at 10 o'clock. We open at 10 o'clock every day, 7 my time. And look at this, just a battle of the descending shark's teeth pattern. Unbelievable. Descending shark's teeth pattern. The market's trying to sell off in a normal, natural, and honest way, and these people are coming in here and just trying to prop it up, and that's what causes these shark's teeth, is them propping it up, trying to get all the sellers out of the way so they can launch a bazooka show. But they've been failing lately, and there they go again, another big hammering. I don't care. People might say, oh, well, don't you want the market to go up? It's been up. It's been up like crazy. No more. I mean, I own stuff in the stock market. I own gold. Oh, sure, I want gold to go up, but I want it to go where it wants to go naturally. And gold tends to be a crisis metal, so it may have some real legs with what I think could be coming up. So they rig it back up here in the shark's teeth formation, and then, okay, here we go. And this looks more like a natural bounce out of a very oversold kind of area here. They're trying to make their way back up to this very key level up here and back up above the institutional bias line. And they really moved this thing back up, but it just wasn't. The sellers are too strong. They turn back under the institutional bias line and slammo, down they go. So that's good, I guess. I don't know. I'm not bullish or bearish. We've got a lot. I've got my portfolios and everything, got a bunch of protection on there using triple short ETFs to use as a sort of quick and easy way to run a hedge. So they, again, coming down with some crashy candles again, and more crashy candles, and very brief shark's teeth type of patterns. But then it's just a war out there. So be careful when you're trading. And our motto in the room is, no guts, no glory. And you got to go in there and you got to do what you can. But you got to know how to avoid look at this severe shark's teeth thing here, because they goosed them up and the sellers keep coming back. And these bullish riggers, which are criminally rigging the market, are causing this because they're trying to prop it up and stop out or punish the sellers because there are too many of them, and then they get overwhelmed. So they're in there losing a lot of their, what they call soft money, soft dollars, but that came from somewhere initially. The seeds for that came somewhere. Well, sure enough, they opened the bank vault again, and just a massive bazooka launch straight up here. I believe this is Friday. Just a massive bazooka launch later in the day. We had already made our gains Friday. Today's Saturday, so that was yesterday. And we had a $900 day, decent day. We're still on half size because it's so volatile. I have to be careful. I have to protect our subscribers. And we're normally based on 4 NQ contracts, but we're now trading half size, which is 2. So a big bazooka show. I'm almost done with our webinar here. And up they go. I'm just trying to show you all this. And then here comes, the market's trying to sell off, but rather than let the sellers gain control, they start pushing and forcing on it on the buy side, causing these shark's teeth formations right up into this area here. And this was sort of an upper moving shark's teeth pattern, which they go up and down, but usually they're flat, like in this flat range. We saw one recently here, a small one, or a larger one here, especially notable. Kind of trying to descend lower, but still they're just fighting them, and then they launch bazooka and they just destroy all the shorts. When you're trying to trade this, I'm telling you, it makes it a lot more nervous, but we do very well, so we just keep doing what we do. Shark's teeth formation up here, and another little crash, but a smaller one as they try to lift them up. Here's a big bazooka show trying to jam it up, and just kind of a choppy move into the final hour. Now what I saw Friday, because we were already done, so hey, we made $900. I said we're done for the day, and this is usually accomplished in the first hour and a half of trading. If it goes beyond the first hour and a half, I get a little leery and I watch, but sometimes we will stay a little later if necessary. Just depends on what we're trying to accomplish. And all this is clearly outlined each day in the room. Everything is tracked meticulously. Records are kept, and that's where I generate these figures that I give you. We've had that 800 to 2,000 a day average for many years, so very good trend. Look at the extended shark's teeth pattern all the way into the close, because they just were so, trying so hard to jack that market up. And when they did this final stunt here, they wanted to build on that by walking it higher. And then they saw this come in and they said, oh, let's just keep it going. And then it just fell into a shark's teeth pattern, because they were still trying to fight off all the sellers. That's what they're doing. And they forced the Dow up to close at 299 up here. You see that. And, the composite index worked its way back. Early, everything was up on this is what I call the high five. Dow Jones Industrial Average, cash composite index, transportation, dollar BKX is a NASDAQ banking index. I watch it as a proxy because we trade the NASDAQ exclusively in the room. And then the advanced decline line right here. You should know what that is if you're an experienced futures trader. If you don't know, then you're probably not an experienced futures trader. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of tests I could give you, but we don't. We just look for experienced futures traders to join our room. Beginners and new people, they're not going to understand it. It's going to freak them out. You won't last in the room. After a week or two, you'll go, what? Oh my God. So it's better if you just tell your friends who are experienced futures traders to join with us to make the kind of money we describe. That's our high five here. We watch the high five. So, and a lot of people have ideas. Oh, well, it's buy the dips because it's going to keep going higher. Well, yeah, I know. And I know some professional people that say that, and they're on TV, some of them, and that's good. Good for them. I'm not a bull or a bear. I'm actually a bull mostly, but heavily protected with short hedges, like SPXU is one of them we use. Triple short the ES, and it's just like an insurance policy. It's like when you buy an insurance policy, okay, I want to buy an insurance policy with you guys. Well, okay, great. And then they get you in, and all of a sudden, here's your first payment. Well, now you're losing money on your insurance policy, right? Then you make another payment. Then you're losing money on your insurance policy, but it's there for what? To protect you if you get in a car accident, protect you if you actually do some stupid thing and kill somebody in a car accident, or if you just, somebody attacks, or not attacks you, but rams into your car. Your insurance company's there to protect you. And you're going to go years, maybe decades, without even an accident, like me. And yeah, you would say, boy, that's a losing deal, buying insurance. No, it isn't. Well, of course, it's required by law, but it's there to protect you. So that's the idea. Just thought I'd say that in wrapping up here. But we've done a great seminar here, and I thank you for attending and listening carefully. I wanted to show you these patterns that are occurring in the markets. Brand new, these shark teeth patterns. It's caused from market rigging. Be careful and write your congressman and everything. I think that should be an effort that comes out, just like the Doge effort was to get all that fraud out of my God, these people were stealing billions and billions of dollars for these communist operations, funding communists to break America into pieces. And that's still going on. So now, thank God they're on that, and they're investigating the criminals that have been doing that, and we'll hopefully get one step closer gradually to ridding our country of these vermin that try to destroy America. We want to keep America strong and safe and good. I do. I hope you do too. And we want to trade a fair market. So I'll say that in closing. Let's hear it for trading a fair and honest market. That's our mission here, the Day Traders Action, and that's what we do. So thanks very much for joining with us today, and have a wonderful rest of the day.